Hey there, my name is Jessica Reiko. I'm an assistant professor of dance at Wayne State University. I do a lot of work with technologies, with looking at ethics and data and bodies, but I also do a lot of media art. And so, one of the things I found in this pandemic situation is that audio for teaching dance technique classes is a kind of a complicated venture, right? We have a lot of sort of little workarounds that people have been suggesting, and I've suggested myself through the dance teacher online transition group that's up on Facebook. Um, we have these different things we can do, but I've found a workaround that's free, other than having to purchase a microphone, of course, but a free software workaround to bring audio from an external microphone and from your computer's music playback capabilities directly into Zoom. And so let me just demo that really quick. So what you're hearing now is my voice. And then if I play some music from Spotify,
We try to hide it,
you'll
but that's
notice
too
that you're hearing my
dangerous.
music, which is this is Sassy Black Glitches. You're hearing Sassy Black's
I'm
music,
out on the
and then
scene,
you're also
out on the
hearing my
scene.
voice at the
But
same
none
time,
of
and
us
both are
look
coming
the
directly into
same.
Zoom.
We try to hide it, but
Cool.
it's too
So what this does is it allows for us to have, good quality audio of both our music and our voice coming in. The other thing I want to note is that I am also hearing that music back to myself on my onboard computer speakers, which is really fantastic because one of the issues I was running into is when I connected this device, I was able to route everything into Zoom, but I wasn't able to hear it back, which is obviously a bit of a problem if you want to hear the music that your students are hearing in order to be on the same beat or do the things that we do as teachers. So this is just a heads up, a couple things. This is a multi-step setup. I do have a set of written step-by-step instructions, and I highly recommend downloading those and pulling them up along with this video, because it has all of the links available in it, hyperlinked, so you can just access them. But that's first of all, is it is a multi-step setup, so it is a little complex. If you are somebody who is not super familiar with accessing like your computer's audio input and output capabilities, if just like being on computers and working with them in general makes you feel a little like itchy, this may not be the best setup for you. I would just strongly recommend looking at some of the settings in Zoom, and disabling some of the components in there that are blocking background sound. And I have those instructions available on Facebook in the Dance Teacher Online Transition group. Um, so I wanted to mention that. The other thing I want to mention is that this setup is at this point only for Macs, rather than Windows or PCs. The reason being is one of the primary software pieces is called Soundflower, and it is only Mac supported. It doesn't have a version for PCs. I am going to do some looking around to see if I can find um, a similar piece of software that is PC friendly. And if I do, I'll post that up. But for now, unfortunately, this only works for people who have a Mac computer. The last thing I wanted to mention is that I have the most updated operating system, which is Mojave. I am not sure if, with Soundflower in particular, if there's going to be any issues with older operating systems. I would imagine it's probably fine, but I just wanted to also put that out there, that if you run into any issues and you have an older operating system when it comes to downloading and installing Soundflower, let me know and I'll see if I can help you troubleshoot. Also, when you go through the instructions, and you'll see this also on the written documentation, there is some extra instructions from the repository creator, Matt Ingles, for Soundflower that gives some suggestions if you're using an older operating system. I haven't gone through that process because I didn't need to, but I just wanted to note that it's there. So I think that's about it for my introduction. Now let's go ahead and transition into setting up your audio.
Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is download Soundflower. Um, Soundflower is a kernel extension. It used to have um, its own app interface that you could do everything on, but it's been unsupported for a while, so you have to kind of use another interface to access it, but it's pretty straightforward. All of this information, because it's no longer a supported piece of software, is now on GitHub, which is an online repository for people to share code. If you click on the link I have here above, it's, or if you access this link, it's github.com/mattingles/soundflower/releases, which is also available in the step-by-step document that I have up online. It'll take you to this page, and you're going to scroll down through all of the text to right here, where you'll see a few different files, and we're going to download the soundflower.dmg file. You can see here. Now, because this is a kernel extension and not like a standard app, it will have a couple extra little mini steps that you need to do in order to successfully install this. And they are written here by Matt. He wrote out how to do this. So we're just going to walk through it together, but if you want to do it on your own time later, or if you have any issues, you can also defer back to what he wrote here. So the first thing that Matt suggests is hitting Control to open the Soundflower package, which right clicks it, and then it pops up my menu window, and I'm just going to click Open. What you'll see right here is that it says that Soundflower is an unidentified developer and asking me if I'm sure I want to open it, and I'm going to say yes. And then we're going to hit Continue and Install. And then I need to put in my password, my computer's password in order to verify. And then it says that it's blocked, which is something he mentioned. So I'm going to open security preferences, and it says it failed, which is fine. Don't worry about that. What we're going to have to do is go into our system preferences and hit allow. If you look down here, it says system software from developer Matt Ingalls was blocked from loading. We're going to click allow, which basically says, yes, I want to download this. And so then we can close and we can keep it. Don't move it to trash because we need it. And we're going to try it again. So open, continue, install. Again, I have to put my password in. And there it goes. So this is just those couple small extra steps because it is something that looks kind of nefarious. It doesn't look like a sort of a nicely packaged, pre-polished piece of software. It just requires these extra steps to ensure the safety of your computer, which is a good feature that we have. But in this case, just means you have to do a little bit extra. So I'm going to wait for this to install, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so my installation was successful. I'm going to go ahead and hit close. And then the next thing that we're going to do is set up our Soundflower audio. So I'm going to go ahead and move this to trash. It's asking me, we don't need it anymore. All right, so once you've successfully installed Soundflower, you'll notice that there is no standalone application. What we have to do is access Soundflower through what's called audio MIDI setup. And again, Matt Ingalls describes this in his documentation, as you can see here in the repository, the GitHub repository. You can see here, he takes us through these steps. But for the sake of this video, I'm just going to walk us through it. So the easiest way to access, and here, let me close so you can see what I'm doing, to access the audio MIDI setup, I find, is just to come up to your top right corner where there's a spotlight option, and then just start typing in audio MIDI setup. You'll see it auto-populates pretty quickly. Go ahead and click on that, and you'll get this screen. In here, you're going to come to the bottom left corner where you see this plus sign, and you're going to click that, and we're going to choose Create Multi-Output Device. In here, we're going to select two things. We're not going to select external microphone. I'm going to unclick that. We don't need that. But we do need Soundflower 2 channel, and we also need whatever your computer speakers say they are. Mine say MacBook Pro speakers. Yours might say like onboard speakers or something therein, depending on your hardware software setup. But whatever it says for your computer speakers, onboard computer speakers is what you want. And that's it. That's the simple part of this. Now we've configured our multi-output device, and we can go ahead and minimize or close that. I'm going to minimize it in case we need to come back to it later. So then the next thing that we'll do is download Max 8. Now this download takes a while. I already have it tabbed here, you can see. It's at cycling74.com/downloads. Again, the hyperlink is available in the step-by-step guide under step 3. And you can see over here that we have a Mac OS X or OS 10 button, and you would click on this button to download. Now, I already have Macs on this computer. I use it quite regularly, so I'm not going to demonstrate this step. It's pretty straightforward. But a couple things to note is that Macs is a fairly robust piece of software. We're using it in a very, very simple way for this project or for this context. So just know it is a sizable download. So just make sure you have space on your computer. I'm gonna give you a moment here. You can go ahead and download that. And once you've done that part, come on back. Okay, so once you've downloaded Max 8, the next thing that we need to do is access the Max patch or software program that I built. In Max, they call all of their, if you make a software program, it's called a patch rather than a program. So you'll see if you go to my GitHub, which is github.com/JessicaRico/Zoom audio is where I have this Max patch stored. Again, that link is available in the step-by-step guide. You'll see the page looks like this. And underneath, you'll see the Zoom audio.maxpat or max patch, there's the term, .zip. So we're going to click on that. And that should give us this download option here. So we're going to download it. And then I have the zip file. So we're going to open that up. And as you can see, I now have this Zoom audio maxpat. And all I'm going to do is, just for the sake of you're going to need this regularly, so I would store it somewhere on your hard drive that you find is going to be best for you. I'm just going to show you where I tend to store all of my Max patches just because I work with it a lot. But in documents, you'll notice once you've downloaded Max, it will auto-populate you a storage folder for all of your files called Max 8. So they named it after the software. It's pretty straightforward. Again, it's under documents. So if I come to Max 8 and click on that, I already built a subfolder called Zoom because I like to organize things. And then I'm just going to drag and drop that in here. So I know where it is. If you have a different place, if you're like, I want to put this with all my classes, or I want to store it somewhere else, feel free to do that. But once you have it where you want it, I'm going to close this downloads folder. We're going to open it up. Which may take a moment. Max takes some time. Oh, sorry. You're going to see something else I was working on. And you should see something that looks like this. It's pretty. This is a little tiny interface. Right now, it's not going to be doing a whole lot because we don't have our audio set up. So the next thing that we have to do is set up our audio. And I'm going to go ahead and this is my microphone. I'm going to go ahead and put it on so you can see. Whoop, what am I doing here? There we go. All right. So I'm putting on my microphone. And I'm going to go into, you can see up here we have options, and in there you have audio status. So what we need to do next is set up our audio to function. If we click on audio status, you'll see it just gives us kind of like you do in your on your own computer where you can start to look at the inputs and outputs. That's sort of this version for Macs. We don't need a whole lot of this. We just need at the very top, you'll see it says input device and output device. Now what this is doing, if you're interested, is it's basically letting us tether our external microphone with our Soundflower app. So in one channel, because the problem with Zoom is that it only takes in one channel of audio. It does not do stereo. It only does mono. So Soundflower alone, what it wants to do is tether things together into multiple channels, but that doesn't solve our issue. We need to take both our external microphone and our music and put it together in one channel so that Zoom can get it. And this helps us do that. It's kind of a funky workaround, but it's free. There are cheaper, easier options. Paid easier options, but again, I wanted this to be a free option for people. So if I come up here, I need to change my input device to be my external microphone, and then my output device is going to be my Soundflower 2 channel, okay? And then you can click, you'll see this little like power button. You click that and it would, it'll turn it on. It says that Max would like to access my microphone. Yes. Obviously, if I don't do that, it's not going to work. So that's just, I set up the settings. And now if you look in here, you'll see that my sound bar is moving. It's telling me, hey, look, I am getting audio. And again, this little interface is set up to be in stereo, but we're only working in mono. So we're only going to see one of these work, and that's absolutely fine. That's all we need, because again, Zoom only takes in one channel of audio. So this is just a good visual check-in too, to make sure everything's running okay. You'll see I have a sound bar visually in my software, and then on the bottom right corner of the Max platform over here, there's another sound bar for just the general audio of the whole patch. And that's what we need. So this needs to remain open when you're using Zoom. So this one you do need to minimize. Don't close it once you set this up. Otherwise, it's not going to help you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and minimize that. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is go into our computer audio settings and make sure that we have that properly set up. The easiest way to do that, well, there's two ways to do it. I'm looking at this machine and I don't see a little speaker up top. My other one does have one. So I'm going to go into my little Apple icon in the bottom left or top left corner, and I'm going to choose System Preferences. And then once that's open, I'm going to come to my sound setting and open that up. And you'll see what that does is it gives me access to my computer inputs and outputs. And then if I click on outputs, what I need to choose is this multi-channel output that I created in Soundflower. Cool. So it's telling me, yes, I changed my default speaker. It's giving me that warning. That's fine. And that's it there. You can actually close this. It won't change the setting to some default when you do. And then lastly, we set up Zoom, and then that's it. So let's pull that up. Okay, so for this final step of setting up our audio in Zoom, I've pulled up my audio settings so you can see them. You'll see I have, right now I'm pulling audio from my webcam's onboard microphone. I have a webcam here, and I have my speaker set up as same as system. So we're going to change both of those. The first thing that we need to do is, so the first thing that we need to do is change our microphone to Soundflower.
And what that does is it takes that combined audio of the external microphone and my music, and it puts it together. So as you can see you might hear, I can't hear, but you might have heard a change in quality of the audio that's coming in, and I can see that it's coming in. And then I'm going to change my speaker to be my MacBook Pro speakers, so that when I'm playing music for class, I've been doing that from my computer itself. And then I can hear my own music as well, right? Because that was the issue I was running into when I first bought this. It was awesome. Everyone could hear me really well, but I couldn't hear my own music. And that was important to me. Obviously, if I was going to share that music with everyone else, I needed to know if I was using the music for counts or musicality or anything. I needed to actually be able to hear it myself as well. So this allows you to do both of those things. And then if I pull up, let's see, I'll pull up Spotify, and we're gonna play, let's play something from Sassy Black glitches. I'm going to play this, and you should probably, hopefully, fingers crossed, hear both the music and still be able to hear my voice.
We try to hide it, but there's too many
And I'm going to step back so that you can tell, because it's coming out of my speakers. You can hear me and you can hear the music at the same time.
But none of us
and if you want to test this,
we try to hide it, but there's too many glitches.
I can also still use like my onboard interface for Spotify to adjust the volume, which you can see down here. And I'm going to go ahead and do a test mic so that we can check, make sure everything's still functioning. So turn this up, and I can click this test mic and say check 1 2, check 1 2. And what it does is it just records a couple audio seconds of audio coming in through the microphone setup, and then plays it back for you so you can like check your audio, which is a kind of a nice little thing just to make sure everything's working. And when I heard it back, yes, I could hear my voice really well. I could hear the music really well, and that's it. That's the setup. Now, for those of you who might be wanting to use not a microphone for your voice, but if you're doing anything percussive like tap, and you want to use like more of a spatial capture microphone, then I would highly recommend using like Bluetooth earbuds to play back your audio so that you're not competing and you're creating a feedback loop. I don't need that. This microphone is intended to be very specifically directed, a single direction so that it catches my voice. So I don't have to worry so much about capturing the audio coming from my computer speakers. But if you have a mic that is more sort of like omnidirectional and trying to catch the whole space, then you're probably going to want to use a set of headphones. So that's it. That's how it works. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. You can reach me at jessicarayco@wayne.edu. And I hope this was helpful. Good luck and happy online teaching. All right. Bye.
Hey, I just wanted to add on to the video with a quick notice of the things that you'll need to set up every single time that you go to teach a class in terms of audio, or the things that you need to check. So first of all, you're going to want to go into Max 8 and open up that Zoom Audio Max patch that you downloaded from my GitHub website. You're going to need to open that. You can always look at the sound bar to make sure you're receiving audio. If you have any issues, then go back to the audio settings and options. So that has to be running while you're doing Zoom, okay? The other thing I would double check is just your computer audio settings. You may have at some point needed a different audio setting to do something else, and you may have changed it. So just double check that the settings are correct. And then lastly, just double check your audio settings in Zoom. I think it's really good practice to do just an audio test using that feature in the audio settings where you can record a small chunk of audio and play it back to make sure everything sounds okay. Those are the main things that you really need to double check. And again, in the document that I created that gives a step-by-step process, I created screenshots of how each of those places should be set up. So the easiest thing to do is open that document, go to those locations. If you're needing to troubleshoot or just double check your audio settings, use those screenshots to make sure that your own setup looks the same. And that's it. So Max needs to be running in the background. Just check all your audio settings to make sure they're working. And when you do so, make sure your external mic is set up and turned on so that everything's working properly. And you should be set. I would give yourself like 5 minutes before just to get in the ritual of setting everything up and making sure everything runs so that you know you're ready for class and don't have any surprises. Okay, happy teaching.